Welcome to Howl at the Moon. If you're watching us from a remote location, we are especially excited to have you with us tonight. We're about to get our first speaker up on deck here. I think Andrew has probably done a marvelous job of lining up our talents. So it'll be just a few minutes. Be with you soon.
Anyways, with 2 published books and our future dictator, we've got Derek Weissman.
Woo!
The Badlands Saga, Part 1, Homelands. It is dangerous to be right in matters of which the established authorities are wrong. Voltaire. Chapter 1, Kathy. The mansion used to be filled with life. Friends from all over the lands brought exotic stuff and perspectives. The library was packed with numerous books that could never satisfy my boundless curiosity. Finally, the farm that held all my beloved animals, each one just as special as the last. Then my husband Mitch got black diamond disease. The so-called friends cast us off to save their own skin. The books were either sold or burned for fuel. The mansion was scrapped for parts. And my beloved zoo, oh God, do I miss them all. Finding shelter at Mitch's father's fortress, I watched the glorious city of Ares slowly devouring itself. The people with black diamonds slowly crystallized into statues. Gangs prowled the streets for easy prey, while junkies scavenged for potions and crystals to feed their addiction. All the while, fires spread across the city, polluting the once clean air. Hell had annexed our kingdom. Looking away from our kingdom in the valley, I turned my attention back to my husband. Lying on his bed, I saw Mitch's body was covered in black hard crystals. Like diamonds, they reflected light and were impossible to destroy. The stones were attached like leeches and were beyond painful to peel off. Even if one could peel it off, another one would just grow back. And like a tumor, they grow and spread across the body, paralyzing every fiber until the victim was made out of stone. Some people died an agonizing death from having crystals growing in vital areas, heart, lungs, legs, or even the brain. The best way to get rid of the disease was to catch it early on and in a non-vital area of the body. That way it can be cut off and save the host's life. The disease was transmitted through liquid, or the single glass shard that was found on Mitch's head would have been taken out a long time ago. As I took a seat next to my husband's bed, I saw him drooling and laughing like a little child, loving life as if it was one big playground, despite him being 23 summers old. "Put it in!" Mitch yelled with joy. "Put it in!" "I will get you some," I said as I held his soft hand. "Please be patient." "Put it in!" he said in a rhythmic chant. "Put it in! Put it in! Put it in!" I gave him a brave smile and walked out of his chamber. It took me 10 minutes to reach the fortress kitchen. When I entered the kitchen, I noticed I was completely alone. No servants, no cooks, no soldiers, no one. When I was completely isolated, I started to cry. "Please, God," I whispered, "please save my husband." Chapter 2, Lee. Being a mercenary, you get to see all the beautiful sights that the world has to offer, like the Arctic Sea, where you can assassinate a Union leader, in the mountains, where you can take out some mountain rebels, or my personal favorite, traveling through the dead forest uninhabited since time began. The forest did not get its name because of being barren. No, the real reason the locals called the forest that was the fact that there was no animal life. No bird, no bear, or even a butterfly. Just black spotted trees and endless fungus that produced more toxins than cyanide. Even a whiff of the air could kill a man 1,000 times over. The unlivable forest was the perfect place for plant growth and flying convoys. No living being dared to set foot in the dead forest, unless you were a mercenary. It was dark and silent in the dead forest. No sound could be heard for miles on end. There were no signs of life except for the stars in the sky. If there were any incident to take place, no one would come. Perfection comes once in a blue moon. Wearing a rubber suit too hot for my own good and a too tight gas mask, my comrade James and I were loading the Bloodhound stones into the launchers. The stone into the motor. Just one crack would cause the stone to blow up. Even though they are harder than iron, they can blow up anything in a 5-kilometer radius. No pressure. How's your motor doing? I asked James. Been ready for the last 5 minutes, James said. I guess fucking all those whores is making you rusty. Not as rusty as your trombone, I countered. James gave me the bird. Once the Bloodhound stones were in place, I looked up to see a circumcised field Zeppelin flying overhead. On it was the royal emblem of the royal family of Apollo. The royal family is early, James said. Yes, they are, I said as I aimed the launcher. 20 roses that I perform regicide. You're on. We both pointed the motor at the Zeppelin. Once aimed, we pulled the trigger and let loose hell. A series of red explosions erupted across the bow of the Zeppelin, and like a stone, it fell at an ungodly speed towards the forest. Once the Zeppelin struck the earth, James and I picked up our .45 caliber submachine guns and rushed towards the downed Zeppelin. Tonight, we are. Thank you.
Awesome. Very nice. Looks like you're doing it.
Yeah, that's fine. It don't matter to me. All right. Throughout college and grad school, Dan V wrote Ask Dr. Kink. He'll be reading 2 short selections tonight: The Viability of Faith Healing, Exorcism, and Psychotherapy, and The Pool Gods. Let's welcome Dan V to the microphone.
So I used to be into doing research and stuff, so the first paragraph is normally not in something like this, but here goes. Nearly all true free thinkers would agree on one thing. That's how you guys did it.
You got a good voice. So
there is no such thing as faith healing or exorcism. The purpose of this article is to show how much cures might not only be successful, but how such cures might not be only successful, but possibly the best. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go in the light.
Sorry.
Might be the best scenario for certain patients. Consider the old joke, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but it takes a long, long time, and the light bulb has to really want to change. The psychologically challenged religious believer really wants to change too. Using insights of Freudian thought, I propose that faith healing and exorcism can work for certain psychosomatic conditions. The success of most counseling and psychotherapies are no different in their lack of the use of scientific thought or the ultimate truth of their applications and treatments. Sigmund Freud was a physician, specifically a neurologist, who did research on cerebral palsy, neuroanatomy, and most important, aphasia, the loss of sensory perception. He recognized that many of his patients had sensory losses and our lack of use of appendages could not be explained by existing nerve pathways. The most quoted example is glove paralysis, a condition in which a person has no feeling or function in his hand from the wrist down. He saw that this was not an organic, meaning a physical injury. There's not a cluster of nerves that only controls the area from wrist down. Imagine drawing a line from each finger from the fingertip to the shoulder. This is how we're wired. Any injury to one such nerve would leave a trail of malfunction down the entire arm, only affecting certain fingers and certain parts of the arm following this nerve. With the insight he gained from his constructs regarding ego defense mechanisms, along with his medical knowledge of the nervous system, Freud concluding that last of the use of hand or glove paralysis had to be of the mind rather than the body. Since something like this could occur, it is certain no stretch of the imagination to realize that there could be psychologically called deafness, blindness, muteness, etc. To Freud, it all has to do with trauma to the ego. A favorite example often cited is a person who saw someone stabbed. This is so terribly traumatic that the mind cannot bear to let one's hand be used lest it do something just as terrible. I like to add that Freud might have missed the real point here. Maybe the mind cannot let the hand be used like this again. The patient might have committed the murder, but I digress. If psychological trauma can stop one's hand from functioning, it could certainly disable the eyes, ears, or use of speech. After all, a much-loved parent killed the other beloved parent, could not this memory be so traumatic, repressed so deeply to such an extent that the thought of the crime witness actually precludes the use of the hand that killed, the eyes that saw, the ears that heard, or the legs that ran. Freud wrote during the Victorian era. Sexual thoughts were considered to be so terribly dirty that piano legs were covered with skirts to keep men from being aroused by their erotic shape, which might remind one of a woman's leg. The horror of it. Glove paralysis. What about the hand that was caught masturbating? I vote for this sin as the reason this affliction was so prevalent during Freud's lifetime. It's no wonder modern critics say he was obsessed with sex. That was his culture. Jesus' culture was slavery and discontent. Jesus was said to have healed the blind and to make the deaf hear again. What better way could there be to ensure one's ascension into a heavenly paradise than to follow this magical healer of men who guaranteed eternal comfort? The alternative, eternal fire and damnation for one's sins, must be avoided. This must have seemed quite important to slaves and others who had very harsh living conditions. Even George Washington, who was not a believer, thought that religion was necessary to provide a moral basis for most of mankind. Freud convinced others to believe in his concept of ego defense mechanisms. This insight can allow gradual turn to the use of the afflicted senses. Why would we not think that convincing someone of the belief in supreme ghosts such as Christ would be the same? The devil made me do it is just as plausible to a believer in Satan as a defense mechanism is to a Freudian. After all, religion is nothing if not psychology. Our constructs not need to be true as long as we provide help to the afflicted. With problems of the mind, any believable construct can work. The defense mechanism to a Freudian, the devil to a priest, or even probably eternal damnation for the guilty. Religious belief systems do work to cure psychosomatic illnesses. The mistake of the religious is to believe that organic diseases can also be cured by faith. Of course, if priests believe this, faith would no longer seem necessary. They could become practitioners of another paradigm. Psychologists are as compelled to have faith in their systems as are the religious. We all believe in the truth of our knowledge and the usefulness of our responsive paradigms. The belief in the constructs is the viable knowledge. This belief sets you free. We all use cultural truths to solve problems in our daily lives. Some, like Einstein, Freud, and Galileo, innovate and discover new truths, thereby changing human knowledge until the next innovator appears. Religious or secular, our constructs are all just a means to understand our situation in life, a means to live our lives to the fullest state of happiness available, and a means to deal with human existence. When outdated, all dogma, secular or religious, must bow to scientific discoveries. Our greatest human accomplishments, music, art, psychology, and even science, are all biased views of our world, representative of somewhat evolved monkeys howling at the moon. And now on a lighter note. Okay.
Did you say howling at the moon?
It's actually, the Evolved Monkeys is from Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull, and the Howling at the Moon is from Kansas.
And the howling at the moon is from here.
I know, but that's why I use it. Okay, pool gods are feisty little critters, scurrying about in the attics and drop-down ceilings above every coin-eating quarter pool table in America. A respectable diver college pub is immune from their influence on the most popular American bar game ever played, 8-ball. As a perpetual student, I learned about many such creatures, hanging like bats from the rafters or just waiting to torch you into making senseless mistakes. Winning at 8-ball is crucial for many reasons. You meet more people, spend less money, but most importantly, you get to play rather than sit. These little imps' sole existence is to torture your soul by cajoling you to miss your easy shots. Because of these ignoble gods, you must sit and wait while they torture the ensuing players. You wait, you drink. Player after player succumb to their mischief. Pool gods are not like cats with their total focus on the object of prey. These little impudent brats are more like jackals, scurrying about one by one, trying to swipe a bite here, a bite there, and trying to intimidate the tiger for its kill, then pouncing on the remains after the big cat carries off the grand prize. Because of these ignoble demons, you sit and wait. Sit and wait. You should be studying, cleaning house, or washing the car, but you wait. You endlessly wait. Finally, it is your turn again. Once more, you tell yourself that these demons have been there. I'm a pool player. My allies are in the attic. While these spirits frolic above, I quietly go about my game, never bragging, never betting, and never allowing my focus to waver. I know how they think, and more importantly, I know that they can see and hear, but that they cannot read minds. This is a very important point. Many players will say something to distract you, but these deathless little gods will punish them for their ungentlemanly behavior. It is of the utmost importance they see you as a good guy. Never brag. The guys will make you look like a fool when you shoot. Never do a short rack for an advantage. They're watching. Never ask to make a bet. You will be smitten. Never say nice game before it is over. They will hear you and plot to overturn your feeble attempt at reverse psychology. Okay, now I've done everything right. I'm shooting for the win. Just a few easy shots and someone else will have to sit and wait his turn. Just as I'm ready to sink the 8-ball, my opponent reaches into his pocket to retrieve quarters for his next game. Many long minutes away if I make the shot. He put his stick back on the rack on the wall. The pool gods are now watching. They will stop at nothing. I have learned from them. I know what they're thinking, but will never let them know. But the damn pool gods hear the change jingle, jump into action like a pack of hyenas, and do everything to make me miss. First, someone really cute walks by. Next, a door opens. A drink drops. I have no chance. Finally, just as I prepare to shoot an obvious shot, my opponent asks, "Where are you calling it?" He screwed up. They know he is trying to sabotage my focus. They will want him to lose rather than me. But I still miss. Damn, they did it again. I must concentrate. But I must also answer the question, how did they trick me into not calling my shot? I have to remember this for the next game. Cocky that he ruined my rhythm, my opponent walks around the table, vainly chalking his stick. A simple little mini bank shot, barely having to brush the rail to bounce a mere half-inch at most to tap his ball in the corner pocket. He makes it. He makes the next shot. He hits a hard bank and looks at the 8. It's not a gimme, but it's certainly routine. I say nothing. Reaching into my pocket, I jingle my change to alert the guys. I have plenty of quarters, but for dramatic effect, I get $1 out of my wallet, put it in the change machine. After a slight hesitation, the quarters clank one by one as they drop. I've already put my stick in the rack and ordered a beer. I don't watch. I want the pool guys to truly believe that I know I've lost. This is how to beat them. My opponent aims. He pulls back and he shoots and banks the 8-ball toward the near corner. He yells, "Yeah!" That was his mistake. These ornery old pool guys don't like bravado. The cue ball crosses the table and redirects the 8. I abandoned my money on the bar. I must not turn on me now. I need my little devils to save me. If they suspect anything that will make me miss or look like a fool or both. I don't plan to wait an hour between games. Discreetly fumbling with several sticks before finding one I was using, I try to fool them. I can't let them know I planned this. I act distracted when the bartender sets my beer down a few feet away. Tapping the 8-ball in the pocket at the opposite of the table, I wait. I wait for the impending scratch. I put my stick up. The cue ball stops just short of the pocket. I have beat these little imps again. Thank you, my pool guys. You have helped me win it yet again. Without you, I'm nothing. Of course, there are no pool gods nor any gods at all, but it still helps to have a strategy, psychologically or godly. At the end of a hard day, the results are the same.
Yeah, there's nothing interesting.
There's nothing, but we got to introduce you.
I can introduce it.
Like to introduce my friend Andrew Kelly, who is a fantasy writer. He is also one of our hardcore Howl at the Moon regulars who helps us keep running, just like a lot of folks who are working behind the scenes to make sure things happen here. And tonight he will read from...
I should just say. Let's get up there.
Okay, he's going to tell us what he's going to read from, and he's allowed to do that only because it's him. Please welcome Andrew Kelly.
Yes, placeholder. All right, so I started this last week, and I don't really remember where I left off. So I'm just going to randomly pick a point and think I didn't read this yet. This is from the, I don't even know if I gave the title. It's The Autonomous Life of Allie's Digital Soul. Dr. Hahn's assistant adjusted his tie and collar. That's better. You're ready for this, right? It's not like whether I am or not is going to affect the outcome. This product is guaranteed to rake in tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. But yes, I am ready. They've taken 5 years to clear the legal hurdles and personal and professional condemnations. Another 5 to consumerize. The Blatant Lies Corporation had ironically lived up to their word and taken care of everything. Dr. Hahn had too, with respect to his agreed upon obligations, strictly speaking. Being the only survivor from the original incarnation of Project Autonomy, he was the only one who understood the organizational relationship between the AI and VR interface. As a project's PI, it was his baby. The functional concept was his idea. He established the lab, campaigned for the contract and funding, and recruited the best talent. However, the day-to-day duties focused more on project management and delegation than actual research and development. So it was no surprise that he wasn't familiar with all the intricacies. Sure, there were notes and they'd had regular meetings, both group and individual, but the sheer quantity and complexity of each component was too much to understand for someone not immersed in it on a daily basis. Even now, on aspects of the system he hadn't completely grasped. Some of the portable AI were so amazing, he had a hard time believing they weren't real people. One in particular had caught his attention when he had the chance to delve into the system again, and was eventually fused with the kernel for maximum adaptability. Contrary to what he had told the deceased members of his research team, it wasn't a military venture. While true that there was a cursor military component to the contract, it was actually being funded through a private corporation with deep ties to the government, the Hold It Up Corporation. He just thought it'd be easier to keep the researchers from discussing their work if they thought doing so involved treason as well as professional and monetary penalties. He didn't think personal ethics were enough. They weren't for him. When the Blatant Lies Corporation, BLC, came to him with their proposal, he'd initially rejected the idea. He signed an NDA with Hold It Up and was a man of principle and honor. Then BLC showed him the zeros, and those went right out the window. BLC had guaranteed him a shit ton of cash up front and a bit on the back end, what amounted to a nearly infinite budget and allowed him to retain lead control over the project. It was a dream scenario, one he couldn't pass up. Not only that, BLC's plan was consumer-based, whereas Hold It Up's was military. By going with BLC, his name would be immortalized in the annals of popular history, and he gave instant worldwide fame. If he'd stuck with Hold It Up, chances are the technology would be buried behind black market for another 30 or 40 years, and his name might get mentioned somewhere in a footnote in some historical archive. But more importantly, once a product was delivered, it was doubtful he'd see another dime, or if he did, it'd be inconsequential. So he had sold out his team. Of course, he didn't expect BLC would handle the transition the way they did. If he had, he might have had second thoughts about it. Or maybe not. It was a lot of money. On the other hand, if he had truly understood at the time what the entire VR system had entailed, he'd have impressed upon his new employers the importance of keeping one or two of them alive and on board with the scheme. They made some insanely remarkable advances, and as a scientist, the loss to the community was like a knife to the gut. The loss potential was staggering. "They're ready for you," the assistant patted him on the back as she directed him to the stage. As a keynote speaker at the #1 gaming and technology conference in the world, Dr. Han was humbled. He was finally getting the recognition he deserved. Everything he'd done in his life had culminated at this one moment. Dr. Han stepped into the spotlight in front of 3,000 screaming attendees and dozens of broadcast cameras. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, nerds and nerdettes, geek boys and geek girls. I'm going to make this quick because no matter what I say, I know it'll be forgotten in the demonstration to come." A spot of laughter permeated throughout the audience. Whether the laughter was contrived or not, Dr. Han had a genuine smile on his face. "If I could get your attention again, I need to be serious with you." He took a few steps towards the front of the stage and waited for complete silence. Meanwhile, he scanned the rapt faces waiting on his every word, trying to immortalize the moment in his mind. "What you're about to witness will change you. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing." He paused for a second to let his words penetrate beyond their ears. "And gaming existence has prepared you for the experience that is Project Autonomy." He walked to the right side of the stage and focused his attention on a group of particularly irrational and said, "This is no joke, neither propaganda nor hype. Project Autonomy is, simply put, the game to end all games." Then walked away, returning to the center of the stage where a man-sized cloth-covered object had been placed while everyone's attention was diverted elsewhere. So, without further ado, let's get to the main event. A 2.5-minute long promo touting the technical marvels of BLC's virtual reality simulator and artificial intelligence played on the three 15-meter LEDs set up at the back of the stage and mimic of the typical 3-monitor gaming system display. The middle one facing straight out with the two side ones angled in and slightly towards each other. Our fully immersive virtual reality is run by an artificial intelligence of unparalleled sophistication. There are no cutaways, no preordained paths to make you feel like you're just going through the motions. You've heard all the speeches, you've seen all the speculation. Now experience a world like no other. When the video finished, the spotlight shone down on a shaped black carbon fiber BLC VR capsule. The crowd was cheering and laughing and clapping enthusiastically. Today I stand before you with the news you've all been waiting for. To us, what will undoubtedly be hailed as the crowning achievement of the generation. I give you Project Autonomy. The crowd went wild as a multitude of diverse faces from different fantasy races appeared on giant LEDs. There was much murmuring among the audience and a bit of confusion. What you see behind you are the real-time avatars for more than 1,500 of the nearly 10,000 individuals fortunate enough to have pre-ordered a capsule in-game. Many of them have had a capsule for the entire month it's been available. But like you, none have had access to the actual game yet. I must say they've been suffering with dignity. Their only access was to the pre-training center, a big room with those and wooden weapons. Practically every face on screen was nodding vigorously. And if you thought that was bad enough, it was running 3D polygon graphics a la the ancient arcade game Virtua Fighter. A collective groan could be heard throughout the audience. I can tell you feel their pain. Don't cry for them too much though, because it's still a VR simulator in which the players were their characters. And if you can believe it, most spend at least an hour a day there. So what we've got planned for here today is our way of thanking them for putting their faith in us. A round of applause ran through the room. I'm sure most of you have been asking yourself what this capsule is doing on stage. He rested his hand on top of it. Some of you have probably speculated it's for me, that for whatever we have planned, I'll be involved, live, right here in front of you all. Some members of the audience nodded their heads. Some may have thought it's simply a prop, and others maybe thought we just wanted to show off our hardware a bit. A few of the audience members could be seen nodding their heads. A couple others were looking meekly to their sides. Good guesses all, but wrong nonetheless. Dr. Hahn walked to a newly located table on the left side of the stage with a bingo ball machine on top of it. Then what's it for? Some grinned out. What exactly? Where would be the fun if only those who purchased their equipment beforehand could be involved? Honestly, a lot, as you'll soon see. But that's not where I'm going with this. Give the entire audience's undivided attention. Everyone in the audience has a unique security ID number on their conference ID badges. Each one of those numbers is represented by one of these balls. He pointed at the machine. That's good enough.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Way to leave us hanging there. So yeah, if you don't have your conference ID so that your name can be chosen from the drawing, we'll have a couple-minute break, and you can come up to Andrew and get your name entered. In all seriousness, we have a few more readers in just a few minutes. You also have the chance to purchase beverages and bakery items from our wonderful hosts, or come see Andrew because, yeah, you definitely want to read tonight. You need to read.
I know. See you well.
So we'll resume in just a couple of minutes.
I always forget to look at my clock before I start reading.
I'm always kind of keeping track of it. I mean, when it's, you know.
I got it right on the top of the screen, so it's easy to see at all times.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So I have to try and set this up so that I can use my big laptop to read from. It's over, I think. If I have it there, I'll be like, yeah.
Oh, we had to chase one guy. We just
How are you going to broadcast and record it and read at the same time?
The camera still works. Right? So it doesn't matter what the screen shows. That's just to. Actually, maybe I should leave the plug over there because I'll re-plug it in when I'm done. Even though it's been in the whole time, it's only 82%. It drains a lot with the camera, I
Well, so we don't need this one for anything.
I guess not. It's so many times I wished I had another one because the bio was wrong. I should show you how to do that tonight. Do you want to look on it?
I should show you how to live. It's a colander, meatballs, we're trying to
Anyway, so I just have to try it out anyway, because that's what
I'm one of the others.
No.
I'm not the others, I'm on the.
Gotta take it apart. Okay, so, I'll do a little more. Did I already read the Halloween scene from my book, Both Ways? Where they go trick or treating?
Yes.
Probably. I thought it was
Have you read your recently?
I have. I've been editing a lot. I reworked Finn's Rocket again. And this, with Both Ways, this one is like so close to being finished. But I haven't been able to get back to it because of Finn's Rocket. And then I have the Nano one called T. I haven't touched that since, well, December. So, Gatha, you leaving?
Yeah, I gotta go do something.
Okay, shoot. Bye. Thank you. So sweet to come by. So yeah, I have a lot of things like that. But visual writing, a little while.
I'm not asking a little thing.
Yeah, okay, so I have this thing that comes and goes called iritis. It's not ketchup, it's like an inflammation of the iris. just been kind of like almost flaring up. I had drops for it. Probably gonna have to go to the eye doctor again. Wow. Okay, I couldn't see that. Yay. Well, I wrote on their Facebook pages that they should come. So they did. Yay. Okay, I think Wanda's going to have to go next because I don't know what I'm doing since I've already read that. I have to write stuff.
I got a hint of an idea for something I can do with histology, but I haven't been able to plot it. I have an idea, I just don't know what to do with it. That makes sense.
Yes, it totally makes sense. I usually don't know what I'm doing until I start writing. So that's the normal sequence of events for me.
Yeah, I've got a great idea. It's not sure how to actually turn it into a story.
Just probably got to sit down and start.
I did. I sat in there for about a month with 2 paragraphs.
Started somewhere else.
Story. There is nowhere else to start it.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I'm trying to figure out how to do it so it's not novel. I'm trying to actually make a short story out of it, you know.
Be a novella. Be a long short story.
I'm trying to keep it normal size for this one, you know. Trying to keep the width down and stuff and weight and stuff, so.
Well, I mean, we can just write. We can always help you cut it down if we have to. What about it's the thing. Everything is like either too close to the beginning or too close to just at the beginning is what I'm trying to say. Or it's words on that one. I feel like we need to start.
Every time we gotta figure something out. We don't figure something out, we're not gonna have anything to start. Anyway.
Fair enough. I feel like I've read this all. Like, there's been so many times where, like,
They tried to put stuff in that you just grab and not see it.
exactly, that wasn't even ready, and maybe it's more advanced now, but you know, it's too. Will you go persuade Karina to read something? Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm not gonna hug you because I think I'm still like fighting something again.
How was your writing thing? I've been talking to you since
The video thing? The video thing?
the thing you went and did.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so good. And I just, I'm trying to convince work. I think I've got to find me some things that I can, yeah. I mean, it's not a lot of equipment, you know. It's just, everything is working off an iPhone, so it's cool. And some of the stuff was free. I think we're going to lose our audience, though, if we don't start. Do you have something to read? Oh, are you?
Introduce yourself. Or we can. Freeze is good at introducing.
Have a good day, y'all. Have a good day, y'all.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks. Thanks for sharing your story.
No problem.
Really enjoyed it.
How's your presentation?
It was good. I would say just you're reading from a little bit, but otherwise, yeah, it was good.
That's because I listened to it a bunch of times. I don't know why I'm not sick of it yet. Have a good day.
It's cool. Night. So what are we doing? You're introducing Ryan.
I like the mat. I like the mat. I feel like there's going to be some like finger painting or interpretive dance or something.
Finger painting and interpretive dance. What?
On your little. Like shade.
Dancing So welcome back to Howl at the Moon. Thank you for sticking around. We have a couple more stories and poems for you. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. First of all, we have at the moment a short story and poetry contest going on that some of our friends are hopefully going to enter. It is poetry and stories based on the mythical island of False Key, Florida. So for more information, see Karina Poloni, who will tell you all about it. She is our lead of the contest, so she has all the answers. And if you'd like to know more about False Key, our anthology is on sale on the side table there, as well as another couple of books. And if you are an author, a local author, we invite you to come and join us and bring your books for sale because we love supporting our local authors. Our next reader is me, and I will be. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Wanda's ready to go, so let me introduce Wanda. I think we have an old one. Something about a fish, something about middle school. Uh-oh, went to sleep. It's my great pleasure to introduce Wanda Frazier. Wanda writes, Wanda walks, Wanda swims with fishes. She wrote her first poem in middle school. She wrote her next poem 15 years later. She kept writing. And Wanda never knows what she's going to read until she gets here. But it's usually poetry, and it's usually excellent. It's always excellent. So please join me in welcoming Wanda Frazier.
Forgive me, I'm bringing coffee. I don't have much voice. Wanda writes, WandaFrazier.com. Asking Brian Williams. Asking Brian Williams, shall they silence you in one fell swoop? The top of the food chain decides that it's hungry again, and you don't even see them coming. How's the bottom line? The money they are saving, did they want it from you like they always want it from whomever they can get it from? Will you be on the street, really on the street, begging and afraid of hunger, like everyday people who thought they had a good thing? What direction will you take? The one where you sit on your couch and eat whatever you never would have eaten when the world felt fair, when you let your talents rust and refuse to write and ignore your friends and talk about the, or the other one where you rebuild, like millions have done it before, where you take stock, you decide to work for yourself, to define your own choices, and you realize that nothing has really been taken from you at all. You have what you need. school, show up for class, listen to the teacher, contribute when you are being asked to, write on the board, take the test. Put on your thinking cap, clean all the cobwebs out of your ears, pull back your hair, put on your glasses, look at what you are doing. Study the design, find the patterns, name every piece, take it apart, put it back together. Buy the study guide, read the book you are afraid to open, hear the words, talk to the experts, use the language. Step out of the classroom, visit a new place, say what you need to say, write what you have always wanted to write, teach what you have learned. Thank you. This is dedicated to mail in your actual mailbox, not your email box, your mailbox at your house. A red envelope, the color of cinnamon candy, overtly spicy, even in. I hold it in my hand like a movie that I want to watch again and again. It's a surprise, no matter how much I expected it. The paper feels like a linen napkin, nice enough for company just stopping by. We sit by the fire and no one has to leave. Edgy music plays, puts me on my toes and spins me around. Fast car that pulled up right in front and stares at me. The driver left me a note that told me to get in. Read on. Oh, I wrote this for my dad on his birthday. He didn't want anything, so I wrote it. I put it on pretty paper and imported paper, and I shipped it to him. He works with gusto, whether or not people are watching. The wall will be straight. The grass will be trimmed. The filter will be cleaned. The floor will be swept. He worships God when only God knows. The word will be heeded. Gratitude will be prayed. Heaven will be gazed upon. The message will be carried wherever he goes. He salutes his country without raising his arm. The papers will be read. A ballot will be cast. A stand will be taken. There is a way. He respects his brothers and sisters, whether they are born to him or reborn to him. Fresh produce will be delivered. The ramp and handrail will be sturdy. The soup will be shared. The weak and small will be served first. He loves his family, no matter what kind of day he is having. When we are hungry, he will offer his apple pie from McDonald's. When we are tired, he will drive. When we are cold, he will bring a jacket. When we are all together, he will smile at everyone out of the corner of his eye. I don't really have anything else.
That was perfect.
All yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. WandaFrazier.com. I can still talk. .com. Yeah.
My name is Serena Schreiber, and I'm going to share a little bit from my work in progress. It's a middle grade novel called Finn's Rocket. It's the third book in the series that's sitting over there. Finn's Ship, Finn's Car, Finn's Rocket. So the characters that you have to know to understand this are Lydia Morton is the bad guy. She is the camp counselor at Kennedy Space Camp. And then one of the two main characters is Gabriella, Gabby. She is a young teenager and she gets kidnapped. When word of the explosion reached Morton's ears, she assumed for a moment that Dragon was gone. The years of work and loss of experimental data was staggering. But the monitors on Gabby's vitals continued to produce a record of heart rate, blood pressure, and so forth, meaning the kid was still alive, in fact, probably awake. Had the ISS been compromised by the accident? Impossible to say. Minutes later, a radical Muslim group released a video on the internet claiming responsibility for the blast. Besides targeting Omar, a known peace activist, they intended their actions as a statement against the collaboration between nations for space exploration, or as they put it, the defiling of Allah's kingdom. Lunatics. Morton's impulse to run was overridden by curiosity as to whether Gabby had awoken and how long she could survive on the space station. The next vehicle heading up would likely be a Soyuz, because the ISS wasn't intended to remain unmanned for any length of time. How to play it, Morton wondered. Abruptly, she felt hungry and realized she hadn't ingested anything but coffee in 48 hours. She ordered a meal from the cantina, and when it arrived, she got the next shock. The girl delivering the food was Becky, who walked into the office and flung the food onto the desk. "How could you?" she roared. Evie and Sarge entered a moment later, taking in the food everywhere and the commander's outraged face. Sarge grabbed Becky by the arm. "What do you think you're doing?" Morton barked. "Let her go." Becky snatched her arm from Sarge's grasp and stormed out, warning, "You won't get away with this." Morton called after her retreating figure. "I already have." She walked out of her office. "Commander!" Sarge called after her, but Morton ignored him. Morton walked out of the building, stopping at her locker on the way. She pulled out the duffel bag she always kept ready for this moment. Then she broke the lock on Bender's locker and, dressed in the nurse's uniform, took her purse, double-checking for glasses, wallet, and car keys. Forcing herself to walk briskly yet calmly to the parking lot, she climbed into Bender's car and drove away. She hoped leaving her own car in the lot would mean no one would suspect her absence for another few hours, by which time she'd be long gone. She headed to the airport and the next international flight. Now we're switching to Gabriella. Gabby startled awake. No, it wasn't a dream. She really was on the International Space Station. She floated to her brother. "Awake, huh?" He smiled, but his eyes looked tired. "How do you feel?" Gabby shrugged. "Okay, I guess. Were you able to call Houston?" "Well, they called us, I guess. But as you can see, the sound isn't working." Filling the screen, a sign informed them, "We're working on getting the audio fixed, hopefully soon." Finn said, "That sign has been there for at least half an hour." "Finn, where's our camera? Do you know?" He pointed. "I think it's right there." I should point out that Gabriella is hard of hearing and no sign language. Gabby began signing a stream of conversation. "Hello, this is Gabby. I'm here with my brother Finn. When can we come home?" She repeated these messages over and over until her arms began to ache. Abruptly, the sign filling the monitor was snatched away to be replaced by another message held by a man in a tie. This message was scrawled in pencil on notebook paper. Just a minute later, a red-haired woman appeared on screen to sign back. "Hello, Gabby. Nice to meet you. My name is Sanders. Call me Sandy." Gabby glanced over at Finn, who still seemed worried, but she felt a rush of relief as if a gorilla had released his grip on her hand. Finn, who could only sign a little, said, "Gabby, ask her why we can't hear her." She did so, and when the woman replied, Gabby translated. "We're having a problem with audio, but as long as we can communicate, we'll worry about other things first, okay? I'm so glad that you're both all right. Finn, can you tell me what happened when the Swan reached the ISS?" With Gabby interpreting, Finn described finding Gabby and pulling out the IV. Then Sandy asked about, I'll skip because this is details that you don't know. Sandy continued, "Back to what's important. We have a plan for returning stranded astronauts safely. We'll set you up on the Moose." Finn asked, "Did you say Moose?" "Yeah," Sandy explained. "It used to stand for Man Out of Space Easiest, but maybe that didn't sound important enough, so they renamed it Manned Orbital Operations Safety Equipment. It's a bailout system designed to return an astronaut or two from space." "Oh, like an escape pod." Gabby's eyes shone with hope. Finn frowned. "It's not like a big bag of foam with some thrusters on it. Gabby's hands shook a bit as she struggled to communicate. A bag of foam to cushion the impact at the end? Sandy shook her head. That was the original moose. The modern one is a simplified version of the Dragon. Give me a sec, I'll bring it up on the screen for you. Expecting to see a mini Death Star, Gabby was surprised the pod had a bell shape. Oh, it's not round. Sanders came back on to explain. The shape of the moose accomplishes two things. The flat bottom slows your descent and creates a shock wave as you fall, keeping some of the intense heat away from you. Shock wave, like it was a good thing. Will we hear the shock wave? Finn asked. Gabby answered, no, I don't think so. The sound occurs in the path behind the vehicle, not inside it. We learned about it at camp. Sandy was signing rapidly. You've got three major issues to overcome: speed, height, and heat. First of all, on board the ISS, you're traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. So your first job is to slow down. Moose will use thrusters as a braking device. Gabby wanted to ask how, but quickly decided that could be Finn's job. He loved to drive. At the same time, you'll be dropping down for descent into Earth's atmosphere. I know this, exclaimed Gabby. She made a wedge with her hands by touching her fingertips of one to the other. Too shallow and you skip along Earth's atmosphere like a stone on a lake. Too steep and you generate too much heat. Finn cleared his throat. Ask how do I know the right angle and how do I control it? You leave that to us. We have a display to show your attitude and help keep you there. Dragon returns unmanned all the time. On autopilot? Finn sounded hopeful. Kind of. We'll be watching from here. As a backup, you can control the thing with a joystick like a video game. And it would tell you just what to do. Eyeing Finn, Gabby thought she saw a wave of panic wash over him, which he attempted to mask. He'd played his shares of video games, especially racing ones, but this wasn't a game. Their lives depended on it. We've got you covered, Sandy signed. I'll download you a nice descent program into the Moose, and you should be good to go. An animated video showed Bullwinkle dropping from space, showing the angle to descend. As two little parachutes deployed, a red desert appeared as a landing area. Mars, apparently. Appearing briefly, Sandy apologized. Oops, let's bring you back to Earth instead. An ocean replaced the Mars desert, and three larger parachutes unfolded. Bullwinkle smiled, waved at the camera as he splashed into the water. See, piece of cake. The program will tell you when the parachute will deploy automatically. Gabby glanced at Finn, who raised his eyebrows. So deploy the chute. I can do that. Sandy tilted her head to one side. Well, you'll be in free fall, and you could be tumbling pretty hard. Some people black out under those conditions, even test pilots and experienced astronauts too. But don't worry about it. You're covered. Finn looked pale. He hates spinning rides, thought Gabby, while she was the first one in line for the crazy roller coasters. But to be spinning so hard that you pass out? Yikes. She swallowed that thought down. She could be afraid later, she had promised herself. Did you say 1 or 2 astronauts? Yes, I did. Well, which is it, 1 or 2? Gabby, Finn said. Sandy laughed. She's thinking on her feet. Gabby felt herself go faint. Balance. I hear you're a dancer, Gabby. Then you know all about balance. Having 2 of you in the pod should be a good thing. Keep it all even. Gabby started to say something else, but Finn shot her a warning look. Getting ready to leave took a long time. Gabby thought they'd be on their way immediately, but Sanders explained they needed time on the ground to make a bunch of calculations and get the ground team in place before they could go. So you can land where we can get to you quickly. Finally, the time had come to suit up. At camp, they learned all about the suits for extravehicular operations. From the hatchmark EVO, Gabby expected to find 2 white spacesuits emerge like enormous teddy bears at a tea party. Instead, he extracted 2 red suits, which resembled dive gear more than space gear. Whoa, said Finn, Iron Man suits. What are you talking about? Enables an astronaut to land without a spacecraft, Gabby said. Sandy says that suit is a spacecraft. It's backup safety measure. There are no jets in the boots or repulsors in the gauntlets. They have parachutes in the backpacks. Finn held out the suit for Gabby and somehow put her foot in the wrong leg. Whoops. Finn said, Gabby, focus. What? She demanded. I'm not doing anything. Exactly. You're daydreaming. You don't have to yell at me. Sandy says I'm doing great. Or what she's saying now. Time to get inside the pod. When you get in there, power up the screen and be nicer to me. So if you'd like to hear how Finn and Gabby get back from the International Space Station, you'll have to read the story, which should be out later this year. Thank you for your attention. I think we have our next reader. We do. We don't. We don't. We really don't. Last call, Karina, I thought. Karina. Okay. Yes. Karina Poloni is an entrepreneur, first and foremost. She makes websites and cakes and graphics and poems, and she does stuff. And she usually reads wonderful poetry. Please welcome Karina Poloni.
But I'm not reading poetry tonight. This is the first of a series of articles that I was writing before I got distracted and then procrastinated. It's a series of articles on the creative process itself, so it's, you know, contextually appropriate. Right. All familiar demons rose to taunt me as I procrastinated. I had given myself a writing assignment, a short series of articles on the creative process. My topic is so contextual, the subtopics so thoroughly enmeshed. Where should I start? How to divide the content? Outline or free write? Conduct research or write from materials on the list first? I checked out a library book, renewed it twice, and returned it weeks late. Searched for the right mood, the right lighting, until the project intended to ensure I would write was preventing me from writing anything else. Writer's block, a formidable impasse, a long stare into a chaotic soup of unformulated thoughts, a morass of vowels droning indistinctly, or worse, a lonely stand at the brink of nothingness. So maybe the ideal starting point is a look at the bogeys that thwart the creative adventurer on the road to manifestation. Except it may be necessary to take a step back. Isn't it essential to provide at least a vague and general conceptualization of the creative process as well? Yes, but one more step back. The aforementioned library book explores creativity as a discrete concept. I sympathize with the author who tackled this daunting task, but I returned the book unread. Despite some effort to be general and abstract, my process will be contextual. The context is, by necessity, me, so a brief introduction is in order. I'll introduce myself as a general creative. I am of the type that commits various creative acts with fair aptitude. More specifically, I can paint, draw, sculpt, design a website or a logo, structure a yoga class, and make soap from scratch. I like to write poetry and short prose. I'm a versatile and skilled cook. I'm learning to professionally decorate cakes and have tried my hand at bonsai with a fair measure of success. This is a partial list. I love doing all of these things and more. One of my challenges in being effectively creative has been completing projects because I tend to have a few going at the same time. Sometimes my focus is too diffuse, and even my finished projects lack a sense of fullness and completion. Personal challenges aside, my varied forays are deeply enriching in the broader context of my life. Time to return to the second skipped topic. A general overview of the process involved in manifesting an idea as an intended representational form. A looping function this may be, but at the beginning, it is a moment of acknowledged inspiration. A brilliant idea coalesces unbidden out of the ether. But isn't brilliant really, hopefully, the mind asks. If the idea passes a test of being plausible and potentially executable, the mind may take a firmer hold. The idea has to evolve through some stages of conceptualization and formulation. If the inspiring, scrolling, idea makes it this far, then next would come planning. Once an executable plan of attack has been formulated, it is time for the action that will manifest the finished product. Mind may be unbounded, but space-time relativity comes with a few rules by which we play for the most part. This is the skill game. The physical actions performed to achieve a complete manifested form will be temporally ordered, specific, and have definite results. The planning stage, whether done initially or in phases, or not at all, is a translation of idea into form by the means. The formula I'm postulating seems accumulative and linear, but one must allow for back to the drawing board insights. The process is not complete without them. Further qualifying my outline structure, microcosmic versions of the whole erupt spontaneously, whirring in and out of existence like the quantum phenomena they likely are. And one more important qualification. I've created a model for something abstract or metaphysical, then broke this continuum into distinct phases that don't really exist as such, so that they can be discussed. This is a common function of human thought and arguably the whole basis for language, therefore I feel that it is allowed. And disclaimer. Coming back to the first skip topic, impediments to project completion can occur at any phase of the creative cycle. If it's a jungle out there, then it's a jumble in here. So perspective and discipline have roles to play in the life of any effectively creative person. True, many artistic types identify with the free spirit, nonconformist, do-what-you-feel fantasy image. There will be no career in the more the discipline word scares one, the more likely that person would benefit from developing the trait. Conversely, to what the art hippies believe, the right dose of prudence and discipline enhances one's capacity for creative fun and freedom. But the lack of these traits isn't the only impeding factor, so why the focus? Other challenges require persistence to be overcome, for which discipline is required. Example, personal example. Jumping the puddle of doubt between planning and acting is a recurrent challenge. Learning to take it less seriously and let go of perfectionism. I find a motive to splash through it. Then I can achieve results that are validating and improve my faith in my abilities. But to overcome my inertia requires discipline. Without that, I couldn't build better creative habits. A change in perspective can have a radical effect on experience. Walls or bridges can grow from the stories we secretly tell ourselves. Ultimately, it is this inner narrative that determines us limitation versus self-created opportunity. So what are the stories behind our habits? We have our own, unknown. A guide to creativity, snuffing demons, and methods for foiling their attempts is in order for next time, if I ever get around to it. Sure. I'm still here. As Sarita mentioned earlier, there is a contest currently going on for, how do we explain this all succinctly and effectively? Okay. Sarita will hold up a copy of the False Key anthology. We're doing a new one. There's going to be another one of these books, and to get content and create participation and engagement for the next anthology, we're having a contest. There are two categories. One is short fiction, one is poetry. To enter, all you have to do is get one of these books, write something that takes place in False Key, our imaginary island, which you can read more about. And the deadline is, we said March 19th. We extended it because some people expressed interest.
Do you want to read the back? Right. Okay. So another way you can buy a book tonight, it's $10, or you can go online and get the ebook for $2.99.
Okay, back cover. Welcome to the island of dreams and nightmares, shifters and mermaids. Shed the humdrum mainland routine. Escape into our adult fantasy. Arrive by Rust Bucket, Summer Squall, or Overnight Coach. You can raise a glass with the locals masquerading as humans, or slip into an extravagant costume for our parade. Until we find you appetizing, we do love our visitors. The website for False Key is falsekey.com. The submissions for the contest are going through my website, but if you visit us here or visit us on Facebook, you will see the link to the contest. That's probably the easiest way to find the pertinent information.
Right, or at
We have flyers too somewhere.
We do have flyers.
Right there.
But one way to do it also is howlatthemoonwriters.com and then click on the submissions tab, which takes you to your website. Right?
Yeah. Or howlatthemoonwriters.
Just ask us. There's a lot of ways to get
Or
there.
give us your email address.
That's right. Oh, right.
Yes.
That's something we didn't say. Oh, next one is March 19th, the next Howl.
The next Howl is March 19th.
And, right. And if you would like notice of that upcoming events, give us your email address or like us on Facebook. Can anyone hear me? Say that.
Give us your email address. Like us on Facebook.
Thank you.
Good. No more shameless self-promoting?
No. Whoa, yeah, the pig.
Pig. Put money in the pig. You know, gas money, equipment, your support is appreciated. Thanks. You want this back?
Just to say thank you. We said it all, but thank you so much for being here. It gives us endless joy to provide a forum for local. Would you like to read?
I have an instrumental. I put that on there.
Did you contact us? This is excellent. This is what we're hoping for. We have a walk-up last minute. So if the spirit hits you after Ricky is finished, please come see us because we still have a few minutes here. But yeah, Ricky is going to delight us with his original rap. Take it away, Ricky.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is my first time doing anything in public like this. I do have an instrumental that I would like to play, but
yeah, just hold it to the mic.
So yeah, feedback. Did we get feedback?
Yeah, we'll find out.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, put it close. Yeah. There we go. This is called So Far I'm Gone. So far I'm gone, so far I've lost my way. These ghosts have nothing left to say. It's time to profess to the depths of my mind while my spine is twisted and stretched. So far I'm gone, so far I've lost my way. These ghosts have nothing left to say. Time to recess and profess to the depths of my mind while my spine is twisted and stretched. Lost but not forgotten on this lonely road. Desolate paths I walk, gotta take it slow. Did I miss a step or two, or am I free to roam? Wrong, but bones shatter as they hit the stone. As the atmosphere falls, I hear a sound from the heavens that echoes off the dirt and ricochets off the mountains. No clear message, but it still gives me hope that I am not alone and I can find a way to cope. Since you left, I feel like I missed a step. Collect myself, I need to learn how to take a breath. When I'm lost and I feel like I got nothing, say a prayer, make it like you never left. I can feel it in my chest. Pain is only temporary, barely breathing. Legendary, visionary, but I'm not seeing. Expanded vocabulary, but I'm not speaking. Feels like solitary and I'm not leaving. So far I'm gone, so far I've lost my way. These ghosts have nothing left to say. Time to recess and profess to the depths of my mind while my skin is stretched. So far I'm gone, so far I've lost my way. These ghosts have nothing left to say. Okay, hold on. I'll get it back. All right. Addictions, conflictions, control me with distinction, extinction, a fiction of one's self-worth. The blind lead the blind to find there's no place or time for another chance to rant. Some go from mine, even if I find a million reasons to forgive. Time and time again, all I really do is give, thrown back in my face. What I'm told is a fib, a lie disguised, like it's just the way we live. To find a balance, a challenge, it's within. You stand in my shoes, there's just no way to win. To tell the public, now that would be a sin. At least in their minds. See, the silence is unbearable. The feeling I get's terrible. Lost in my thoughts. Guess it's cool with them, as long as they're not caught. Shot in the heart, you understand that it's not magic. Dependency pulls your strings, and I know it's tragic. My spine is being stretched. I feel you're about to crack it. The power of will. Efforts what you lacking. I feel the wrath of the ups and downs. No tracking. Where you'll be today. I pray you'll be alright in the day. Even worse in the night. So tell me what's the point of putting up a fight? So far I'm gone, so far I've lost my way. These ghosts have nothing left to say. Time to recess, profess to the depths of my mind, where my spine is twisted and stretched.
Nice. Got another one?
I actually, yeah.
All right.
I have a couple. If no one else wants to get up here.
It's you right now.
All right, I can do that. That one's a little bit more, I think, poetic. I have a couple that are a little bit more hip-hoppy. If you guys would like to hear some of that stuff, I'll just go without. Whatever you want to do. I'll go without an instrumental. All right, this one is called Scientific Hieroglyphics. I don't know why. I just thought that rhymed. So. Scientific hieroglyphics when I spit it, cause written's killing instant like curses on the living. Spitting pyrothe visions, decisions you had to make with no time given. Driven past a point of no return where it burns for eternity. You learn at a glance for a chance to be normal. I stay behind bars like a captive while I stay close, saying forget the closed captions. Picture my reaction with nuclear attachments attached to my mic while I'm in a straight jacket. Insane asylum in the mind, thoughts stay tragic. Them against us, no messing with our faction. It's reaction. Know it's cause and effect while I rap straight up, direct as it gets, reflect my regrets and what comes next in the text. Are there answers? Is it cause and effect? So be direct with the question in question. As I try to look past my reflection, their script encrypted in a fiction. Listen, acid rain falls as we sit in this prison of the mind. Why try when truth is not given or forgiven? Time flies when you're not driven or you're living. Either or, there's a metaphor, evil knocking at your door, trying to tear down the floor underneath you. The devil see through, but you can see through the devilish lines that y'all try to feed you. It's a mainstream virus, acid applied through your iris, given the chance to deny the facts and digress. My stress, I'm at the end of my rope, so I'm gonna kick him out the deep end because I know they won't float. Try to laugh, it's a joke like knock knock. Who's there? Another MC that's broke with no lyrical smoke. When they exhale, they too frail to try to spar with a spark. My writ's in braille, so you can feel it for the hearing impaired. And I'ma turn these speakers up until I'm hearing impaired. Blame me for bringing sickness to the witness, breaking laws, dropping jaws every time the beat decides to pause. They throw me off, my game inside my brain is gone insane. I can't contain what can't be tamed, so let me loose and let it rain. But hey, I can't complain. I like the way we're not the same. Avoid the flame. It's not a shame. It gets so hot it burns the frames. So let loose before I make the news. I'll sing the blues. I'll lose my mind if I can't find these freaking clues. These lies will burn my eyes. No longer truth, no, they're disguised. With time applied, I'll let it go, let it fly, and say goodbye. Thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate it.
Fabulous. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Well, that was wonderful. We seem to have at least one new person every time. It's always a treat. Thank you so much, Ricky. We love each and every person who comes up here because it is fantastic to be brave and to share what you do. We'll see you in a month. March 19th, back here, same time, same place. Thanks. See you again.